And, of course, no turnovers have as yet marred this football game.
A.B. Brown and Dale Dawkins are set to return the kickoff of this man, Dean Biasucci, who has hit the 2 field goals for the Colts of 42 and 34 yards, and now the second half is underway. Taken right at the goal line by A.B. Brown. And he returns just across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Those of you that have followed the Jets may remember him from a year ago in the first game against Cincinnati when he had a return of 63 yards, and then the next time that he got his hands on the ball, he blew out that knee and has been in rehabilitation ever since, and this is his first opportunity. Look at the statistics on Ken O'Brien. You alluded to them, but they are impressive.
Well, Bruce Kozlik told us that if he has the protection, he said he's one of the most accurate passers in the National Football League, and certainly 9 for 10 represents that.
And Brad Baxter carries to the 27-yard line. They open with a gain of 6. It's going to be second down and 4.
This is what I thought they'd be doing in the first half. One of the other negative statistics where the Colts are concerned is they have given up an average of 6.1 yards on first down. I mean, that is absolutely horrendous, because the best thing for an offense is to come up 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4, because then you can be creative and do whatever you want. And that man right there is very creative.
Ken O'Brien talked to us yesterday about the run-action fake. We haven't seen so much of the run-action fake. Baxter carries, slips the tackle, battles his way back to the line of scrimmage, and Donnell Thompson and Tony Saragusa were there.
Certainly we could call that flea flicker, though, a run-action fake, huh? That was something very different. Chip Banks on the right of your screen is going to break through the block of Blair Thomas. That's not his strong suit. You can see right there, 32 cannot handle number 51. Even though Chip Banks doesn't make the tackle, he does make the play and enables the pursuit to come back and nail Baxter.
3rd down and 4, 6 in the secondary. And O'Brien has been very effective to both Rob Moore and to Al Toon. They have 4 wide plus the tight ends. In reality, they go with 5 wide receivers, and it's knocked away. Good defensive play by Chris Good. Might have had an interception opportunity. What do you think?
That was good coverage. He should have looked to the other side of the field, because when Johnny Hector went in motion, nobody went with him. But you're right. Chris Good comes in and makes a nice play of batted away, and that was not a good choice because Altoon was double-teamed in that situation.
Oh, there was Johnny Hector. I hadn't managed to take it off the tight end. They put 5 into the pattern. They like to put 5 in the pattern, don't they?
You just want to say high five. You love that.
I do. I
really do. TV people, man. What are you going to do with it?
Aguiar's first punt was 50 yards. This is second of the game. Verdun is the return man, fumbles it, and the Jets may have it.
Now, whoever came up with it first, isn't that interesting? We'll never know. Now, they're going to get into it.
They're pushing outside of the pile. This is not even scrambling for the football. Meanwhile, at the stack, there's still
Joe Kelly and Tony Walker getting into it.
And New York does come up with it. Is it Dressel, the tight end?
You're asking me?
No, it's kind of a generic question.
That's Dressel coming up there. He didn't have the ball. Looks to me like it's Troy Johnson, the linebacker, who has the ball. Now, he really doesn't get hit here. This is strange. He just lost it. He just didn't have the ball. Burkett didn't strip him, and of course right there it's laying, and you would think it looked like Dressel had it, but then Troy Johnson comes in to make the recovery.
And the first turnover of the ball game.
This doesn't hold on to it. Right there, he loses it, just comes out. Dressel falls on top of it, but there's Troy Johnson to come in and make the recovery for the Jets. Bad break for the Colts.
First down at the Colt 40-yard line. Now there's that run action fake, and this one is intercepted. Back-to-back turnovers. Eugene Daniel with the interception.
It's ironic that at halftime, when we looked at the statistics, the one thing that stood out were the goose eggs on both sides turnover-wise. Kenny O'Brien just flat out does not see Eugene Daniel here in the zone. Makes a nice interception. As we mentioned, no turnovers in the first half, and right off the bat here in the first 2 minutes, we have 2 of them.
For Daniel, that is his 3rd interception of the year. The Colts have a first down at their own 38-yard line.
Now here's the Colt version of the high five. They got 5 wide out.
And George, they got to give him maximum protection. They got to keep everybody in there.
Well, when they go to 5 wides, you're right. That does put a lot of pressure on that offensive line.
Marvin Washington got him. That's his 2nd sack. George comes up limping. Yeah, remember when we started, he was in a good mood yesterday. We said, what about, when you change plans, change plays? He said, if I have to audibilize, it's all over.
Boy, he's really hurting, and the offensive line has struggled so much so that they've been interchanging. Take a look at that. I went up to a guy in practice, said, nice job, Bill. He said, thanks, but my name's not Bill.
He said, I read the quote. Is it true? He said, yeah, it's true. Said, really?
Wow.
12:53.
Now they're readjusting the clock again.
He is really in some pain. He had a little bit of time. Now watch as he comes upfield. They're going to fall on that leg. Washington again with the sack. It's the last people in there that roll over his foot. That's what happens. His foot is laying on the turf and it gets rolled over. And that's what he's trying to collect himself here. Now Mark Herman comes into the breach.
And it is 2nd down and 10 with Mark Herman, his first appearance at quarterback. And he hands off to Johnson. And he'll pick up 4, maybe 5 yards on the play. And it's going to be 3rd down as we check in with the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Miami leads by 3. New Orleans continues undefeated and still shutting out Tampa Bay. Look at Seattle over Pittsburgh. The Seahawks making some noise. New England continues with that upset in the works over Minnesota 14-10. Here the score, the Jets 14, the Colts 6, moving on the 12-minute mark of the 3rd quarter.
Jeff George back in the game. Evidently it was just a minor sprain.
He does take a beating, doesn't he? 3rd down and 6. He goes deep. And it is incomplete, and the flag is down.
Once again, the long-distance flag, but in this case, it'll be to the Colts' benefit.
Mike Grimm is arguing his case, and you know the kind of chance that he has.
Well, I think he's got a legitimate case. It seemed to me that it was incidental.
Number 43.
He may have a legitimate case, but he's going to lose.
Well, Charlie, this has got to be the most difficult call in sports, because people are running stride for stride. The ball comes up in the air. Now let's see what Brim does. Now Verdon's a little guy. Where's Brim going? He does stick out the left arm, but that's not enough to bother Verdon. There's no way that should be interference. If he reached out and grabbed his jersey, now watch the left hand comes out. But that's just not flagrant interference. You can't just all of a sudden hand a team, in the case of the Jets earlier, pretty much hand them a touchdown, and now in the case of the Colts, hand them about a 40-yard gain.
Judgment call not reviewable. At the 27-yard line, 1st down. Come inside with Johnson. And he continues on that play to pick up 4 or 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down. Darrell Davis with the tackle.
George came in after his injury, and he was hurting, and the crowd started to boo him. So this is what Jeff George did. He says, go ahead, boo me. Hey, man, come on. I'm getting the crowd kicked out of me, and you people are booing me. Boy, how much worse can it get?
Tough crowd. Tough crowd.
Yeah, that's a danger field. He's grabbing his tie right now. Rough crowd.
There is a timeout on the field. One of the players of the Jets, that's Marvin Washington. And that is one of those situations where somebody just noticed that he was not completely well. We've got the injury timeout. We'll be back.
We never forget who made us number 1. We're Hertz. We're America's wheels.
Welcome back to the Hoosier Dome, where the Jets are leading the Colts 14-6, but the Colts with a touchdown and extra point to pull within 1. A lot of time remaining. We're in the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and 4 at the 21-yard line. George, good protection, kind of low sidearm. It is incomplete. Knocked down by James Hasty.
You know, we talked to Jeff George yesterday. He talked about how he's affected by the 0-7 season. Of course, he's a local boy, and he mentioned to you about what his social life is like.
You can tell from the crowd reaction here. He said it's been such a bad year, so his standards keep going down and down and down.
Is that about the women?
Nobody will talk to it.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the women won't even talk to him.
No,
The standards have lowered considerably. I don't think, you know, people complain about the fact that how could you give this guy $16 million over 5 years? It's days like this that he's earning it.
Here comes a blitz, and he's going to be sacked at the 32-yard line. A corner blitz. Mike Brim got him, and nobody picked him up. Whose responsibility is that?
Well, what they do is they overload. If they go with 5 wideouts like they did in that situation, he's going to come unimpeded. There's nobody there to block him, so there has to be a hot route. He has to look to the right to get to his receiver, but it's just too late. Brim gets his comeuppance for the interference call that went against him earlier.
That is the 4th sack for the Jets. The Colts have lost 29 yards in that category. This will be an attempt from the 39, an attempt of 49 yards. He's hit from 42 and 34 with room to spare in this game. And this one is short and to the right from 49 yards away. So the score remains Jets 14, Colts 6. We will show you in our flashback. Super Bowl 3. Oh, what a day this was. Matt Snell scoring the Jets' first and only touchdown. Jim Turner with the field goals. And you have to have been there to realize how big a win this was, because that was the week before when Namath said, "I guarantee it," and everybody almost had a heart attack in the AFL and at NBC. You know, what did he do? And then, of course, the Jets went on to win it, and that, in reality, established a parody and a lot of other things. So that was a great game and a great memory, of course, for Reed, who is here with us today, visiting, as I said, as a guest of the Jets. And yesterday, he was the Grand Marshal at homecoming at his alma mater, Miami of Ohio, the cradle of coaches. And he said, and we won, so that was good.
I think what's impressive there, you know, aside from his tenure, and everybody's familiar with it, is that, you know, he won championships in both leagues. That's something that nobody else has ever done.
And both of these teams we were watching here.
Exactly.
2nd and 8. O'Brien's pass is complete to Blair Thomas. Thomas picks up the first down as he goes to the 46-yard line, gain of 12. Jets 14, Colts 6. 9.5 minutes left to go. We're in the 3rd quarter at the Hoosier Dome.
You know, it's interesting to point out that despite Weeb Eubank's terrific career in the championships, he, like every other Jet head coach, there's not a single Jet head coach that has a winning record. Not one. Yeah, the closest they have is Sammy Baugh, who was 14 and 14.
And they were known as the Titans, yeah.
I don't know how long before.
I know, but I was there. Believe me. Well, those are the great times. To the Polo Grounds. Little play action fake. Rob Moore with a great reception. O'Brien just lofted it out where the only person that could catch it is this man.
Yeah, Kenny O'Brien really made that play. It's misdirection. It's the counter boot is what it's called. They fake the counter, and he comes off on a naked semi-bootleg, but Donnell Thompson was not fooled. He went right with him, and as you mentioned, Kenny O'Brien fading back puts it right where it should have been for Rob Moore.
And a gain of 14 to the Colt 40-yard line, first down. Now Moore, 4 receptions, 106 yards, over that century mark. We mentioned the high school that he went to. He also gives a college scholarship to an outstanding high school student of himself. Baxter carries, and he'll pick up 9 and come up with 2nd down and 1 as we check in with the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Miami still by 3 over Houston. New Orleans continues to shut out Tampa Bay. Seattle shutting out Pittsburgh, and Minnesota closing in on the Patriots now. New England leads by 1, 14-13. And here the score, Jets 14 and the Colts 6. 8:22 and counting. Time left in the 3rd. The ball at the 31-yard line, 2nd down and 1. And Baxter will pick up the first down as he goes to the 27-yard line.
Jets are starting to assert themselves on the ground a little bit. First down carries now in this drive of 6 and 9 yards seem to indicate that the Colts might be tiring a little bit or a little bit discouraged because they weren't able to score after the turnover.
And not scoring after the turnover affects your defense as well as your offense, doesn't it?
Well, you know, you get down to the 20-yard line, you're excited. A big sack on third down drives you back for a 49-yard attempt. You miss the field goal, and then, of course, instead of starting at the 20-yard line, the Jets started at the 32, and now they've driven about 40 yards to get in scoring position themselves.
And here's Blair Thomas. Thomas to the 15. Nice inside move. Cuts back at the 9. Just kind of pulls his way for the last 4 yards. As he goes to the 40-yard line, it'll be first down and goal to go. Jeff Farad finally stopped him after he picked up 23 yards.
Hey, Charlie, this is where the discouragement comes in. Yeah, this is a pretty good run by Blair Thomas, but watch the number of missed tackles that occur. The people that just don't make the play here. There's Harrod, who just doesn't quite get there. There, Good misses. Now Taylor comes up. Now watch him get faked out. He gets by Taylor. Now he gets by another tackle, and he falls down, you know, inside the 5-yard line. The pursuit by the Colts was not aggressive in that play. They are a discouraged football team.
And give credit also to Keith Taylor on this down. Thomas, 5 carries, 36 yards rushing. First down goal to go. 4-yard line, and here is Baxter, who has scored 1 touchdown. And he goes to the 1-yard line, where it'll be second down and goal to go. Radisic and Saragusi stop him at that point.
Well, Burkett's in the game. You think we'll see the reverse?
No, I don't. We saw the reverse in the first half in this area, and I'm not sure that we will see it in the second half.
Interesting to point out that after that missed field goal by Dean Biasucci, in the entire season this year, the Indianapolis Colts have failed to score in the third quarter. Of course, there's 6 minutes in running with that right now, but we need to have a big stop here.
Colts defense stops Baxter, led by Saragusi, so it's going to be third down and goal to go. And he may lose just a little bit on the play. The ball near the 2-yard line, right on the 2-yard line.
Momentum is certainly a fickle thing. If the Colts are somehow able to force the Jets here to have to kick a field goal or go for it on fourth down and not able to get it, that would certainly bode well for them. On the flip side, if the Jets get it in at this point, it's going to be tough going for the Colts to come back here in the second half.
Play action fake, tipped incomplete. The tight end, Chris Dressel, the intended receiver, and it'll be fourth down and goal to go at the 2-yard line. And Pat Leahy will come in with a field goal attempt.
There's nice coverage by Keith Taylor. He didn't buy the run action fake, and it is a good fake here by O'Brien. Taylor on the right of your screen is right with Dressel. He throws it out there where he can lay out, but it just isn't enough. Nice coverage in that situation by Keith Taylor.
And the reaction of head coach Rick Venturi of the Colts. All right. He was fun to visit with.
I don't know. You know,
from the 9, field goal attempt of 19 yards. And it is good for Pat Leahy. So the Jets now move on top 17-6. Back to the kickoff. Pat Leahy has now hit 15 of 21 field goal attempts, and it's not all the don't you like this?
I do. I like that. Here's somebody who obviously did not pay attention to the commercials of Cy Sperling's Hair Club for Men. Pat Leahy's never heard of minoxidil. I like that, though. Have no illusions. It's gone, it's gone.
What do they say? There are very few with perfect heads, and of those, God didn't put a lot of hair. All right, here we go with the kickoff. Verdun at the 5. And he goes out around the 14-yard line. Troy Johnson with the tackle. The final score last night in the Notre Dame Air Force game, Fighting Irish 28, Air Force 15. So Notre Dame continues to be ranked as 5th in the country as they battle all their way, hopefully, to the top spot. And this is the big one. Fight on, from the sea. I mean, fight on. This is for OJ. USC and Notre Dame. Boy, that's a great one. That is always a classic battle. That'll be a good one.
I know OJ doesn't want to hear it, but it has been a while since SC has beaten Notre Dame.
I don't want to hear that either.
Oh, all right.
One of my numerous alma maters. And the pass is incomplete. All right, here's the situation. We're at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis with 4:59 left to go in the third, and the score, the New York Jets 17, the Indianapolis Colts 6. The Colts have had a couple of opportunities, and thus far the Jets, the favored team, have turned them away. I'm Charlie Jones along with Todd Christensen. Let's see what the Colts can do now. Second down and 10, the ball at their own 14-yard line. George's pass is complete to Hester. And Jesse gets the first down as he goes to the 25-yard line, a pickup of 11. So every once in a while, the Colts kind of tantalize you with an offensive spark, and then it doesn't seem to explode into touchdowns.
Well, Jeff George certainly has the ability. I failed to mention the first time when Jesse caught a pass, he was a former teammate of mine with the Los Angeles Raiders, a former first-round pick by that club back in 1985. He had some problems there, went to Atlanta, was not as successful as he might like, and then with the Colts last year, he was really rejuvenated with 54 catches and nearly 1,000 yards for the Colts last season.
First down at the Colts 25-yard line. Here's Ken Clark. And he's going to have a yard, and that's it. James Hasty makes the tackle. Second down and 9. 10-minute ticker. Now, Houston and Miami are tied as Ewan Halfield with a 26-yard field goal. New Orleans still leads Tampa Bay, but the Bucs have scored. Seattle still shutting out Pittsburgh, and New England still leading Minnesota by 1. Here are the Jets 17, the Colts 6, 3:42 and counting. We're in the third quarter. 4 wide receivers, second and 9. Officially, they say second and 8. Here's the blitz from the outside. George slips it. Completes the pass to Verdun, and Verdun goes out of bounds. When George was talking about Verdun, he said that Verdun will be halfway through a pattern, and he'll tune into the crowd, and the crowd will go, oh, says he'll stop running the pattern. He knows that I've been sacked.
Well, that, but fortunately for him, that hasn't happened too often today.
Not today.
Yeah, Clarence Verdun also, people don't realize he danced some with MC Hammer, but the real dancing here was by George, who at the last minute is able to escape Grimm, who nailed him earlier on the blitz. Does a good job of improvising and gets Verdun the ball for 3rd and 1
at the 34-yard line. First down to Bill Brooks. They're going to spot it near the 39.
We've been talking a lot throughout the contest about how the offensive line for the Colts has been rebuilt. Earlier in the season, this is what it was supposed to look like. This was what they had speculated would be the offensive line. This would be the starting offensive line, but as you notice, those in gold, those 4 people are now on injured reserve. Only Kevin Call is amongst the group that is starting in the offensive line, and as Charlie mentioned earlier, this being the 8th game of the season, this has been the 8th different set of people in the offensive line for the Colts.
And we asked Kevin Call yesterday, what are you going to do? And he says, stay basic. Here's Johnson for the first down to the 49-yard line, picks up 10, and the crowd gets back into it. Lonnie Young with the tackle, but back to Kevin Call. When he said, stay basic, I said, what does it mean? He says, hit the guy in front of you.
Well, that's right. They can't afford to be doing a lot of fancy different things. In fact, I also asked Kevin, I said, with the protections that you have, what kind of slides are you going to do for specific pass rushers? And he said, what are you talking about? He says, we're going to block the guy in front of it. Running game for the Colts decidedly more effective than it has been
Payne's making
the previous 7 games. You'll see there 5 yards a carry for Anthony Johnson.
Kevin Call, number 71, the right tackle for the Colts, wears glasses, and I asked him, about contact lenses, because I used to wear them, and he said he wears the disposable kind, but like so many people, he has a problem. He has sensitive eyes, sticking your finger in the eye to put him in, so he goes to the team doctor. Team doctor puts him in, takes him out.
It's wise.
It's very wise. shot incomplete. They're going to rule an incomplete pass in his hands, and then nailed. And George was also hammered.
Big hit in the secondary by Lonnie Young. You can see Clarence Verdun still down. Lonnie Young is the one who in the secondary has replaced Eric McMillan, a two-time Pro Bowler. He leads the team in passes defense, and you can see right there, he's not afraid to hit somebody. It's what they used to call an obstructionist. We'll be back right after this.
Working.
The least fun ball to catch. You know you're in the middle of the field, and both Tony Stargent and Lonnie Young make Clarence Verdun pay the price. But he wasn't the only one. Take a look at the shot that George takes from James Hasty once again on a corner blitz. That insult to injury, the foot of his tackle drags across his face. Wow.
2nd and 10, 49-yard line. Ken Clark has a couple of yards. That'll be 3rd down and 8.
Do you know what? I think they just called a running play to give Jeff George a break.
I think you're right.
You know, the number of hits he's been taking, it's amazing.
Still working on Verdun. I tell you something else that's amazing about Jeff George. Don't forget, this is only his 2nd year in the National Football League. But he is playing like a veteran that's been around for 4 or 5 years. Maybe he has enough beats on his body for 4 or 5 years. But he really shows a tremendous amount of poise to be in the middle of his 2nd year.
I agree. And particularly in light of the fact that minus his, his major offensive weapon in Dickerson.
Here comes the corner blitz. Gets away. Looks for a block. And throws the ball away.
Speaking of poison, he just takes the helmet off. He can't believe it. Man, oh, man. I think the word beleaguered applies here.
Yes, it does. Kevin Call, this is Kevin Call, who was down that we were talking about him. He was coming back trying to have picked up one block, screened off one jet, was going after the second.
That is not good news right there. As we mentioned, Kevin Call has been the only guy who has been there throughout the season for their offensive line. And if they have to make another shift, put another new guy in that situation, the Colts are going to be that much worse off. It's the 3rd time the Jets have come with that corner blitz, and it's been effective for them.
You know, the other thing he told us yesterday, he said the scariest thing is when the quarterback starts to roll out of there, because I don't know where he is, and I've got to go help him, and that's what he was doing here.
Right here, 43, Mike Brim, you can see coming right in his face. George does a nice job of being able to avoid it. Schultz pushes him off just a little bit, but he's not able to come back. From the right of your screen, you're going to see Call trying to come in and help a little bit. He clobbers Lageman. And actually gets a piece of Brim, too. That was a nice job of coming back and trying to help out his quarterback. But he's paying for it a little bit. I think he's got the wind knocked out of him. Oh, that's good news. I'm glad he's getting up. That's great.
All right, let's check in with our football schedule on NBC. A doubleheader next week. Houston and Cincinnati. Of course, don't forget in 2 weeks, Houston will be against RFK against the Redskins in another big one. The second half of the doubleheader, for most of you that are watching our telecast today, Pittsburgh at Cleveland and Denver at New England. Here's the 4th down kick by Ron Stark. And takes a cold bounce for a moment. But meanwhile, was that Anthony Johnson that had already scooted past the ball into the end zone, and he couldn't down it at the 1, so it'll be a touchback, and we'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
It appears that Kevin Call is going to be all right. That's good news. You know, I enjoyed visiting with him. He was a nice young man. He's 30. Did I just say young man?
Yeah, that's young.
Okay.
Believe me, that is young.
Good guy.
Time now for our next Xerox Sports Facts. What was the longest punt in NFL history? Ooh, good segue, gentlemen. The Jets from their own 20-yard line. A little pump fake by O'Brien, and he's going to pick up a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. And we're taking our countdown to the end of the 3rd quarter. We will have the answer to the sports facts question from Xerox when we come back. Now they're going to spot it right at the 20-yard line.
That was the proverbial coverage sack. The Colts doing a good job in the secondary, shutting down both Tune and Moore.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter. The score, Jets 17, Colts 6. Back after these messages from your local station. It was the longest punt in NFL history. The distance was 98 yards. Steve O'Neill of the Jets, and in Mile High Stadium in Denver.
You know, I saw a clip of that, and Billy Thompson misjudged the punt and hit about the 35-yard line and rolled about 33 yards, but still counts.
Blair Thomas stopped by John Hand, and the report on Kevin Call, he has bruised ribs and is expected to return. And the ball at the 22-yard line. So it is 3rd down and 8. Four wide receivers for the Jets. Ken O'Brien in the shotgun. And all alone on the far side is Johnny Hector. Bobbled it and then held on, and nobody picked him up when he came out.
Well, what happens is that he lines up to the right of Kenny O'Brien. Then when he cuts across the field, the linebacker gets caught up in the wash. There, Jeff Herrod is supposed to have him, but he stays in the middle of the field, and instead of somebody running off with him, he gets picked off by Toon, and there he is, opening the flat for the 1st down.
Gain of 13 to the 35. It was 3rd down and 8, 1st down. I imagine the Jets will start taking as much time off of the clock as possible. Russell's in motion. Here's the draw. Blair Thomas. And he's going to be stopped back at the 28-yard line. He's going to lose 7. It'll be 2nd down and 17 as Radisick and Ball got him. And now let's check the Miller Genuine Draft Light 10-minute ticker. Miami leads Houston by 3. New Orleans still in front of Tampa Bay. Seattle by 10 over Pittsburgh. New England still by 1 over Minnesota. And here, Jets 17 and the Colts 6 with 13 minutes to go in the 4th. O'Brien, a little swing outside to Blair Thomas, and he goes out at the 34-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and still 11 to go for the 1st down.
You know, I wonder aloud whether or not the fumble that Blair Thomas had against the Chicago Bears on that Monday night game has affected him, because since that time his numbers have been way down. You know, last week, as I mentioned, he only rushed for 9 yards, and the week before that I think it was somewhere in the 20s. You know, there you can see his pass receptions. He hasn't been a real force coming out of the backfield catching the ball. But I think that's of concern to Bruce Kozlov, because he started the season so well, and even now he's still 7th in the AFC in rushing.
Kenny O'Brien is hit 13 of 17 for 195. Here he's going to scramble and come up way short. He picks up 5 to the 39, and it's going to be 4th down and 6. That means that Aguiar will kick it away.
Dwayne Bickett and Sam Clancy really made him pay for that. Kenny O'Brien didn't quite get down into the slide soon enough, and he really did take a shot.
Clarence Verdun, remember the last time we saw him when he got sandwiched in the air? Well, he's all right. He's back in to return the kick. He's at the 20-yard line. Blitz up the middle. It was almost blocked. And a fair catch by Verdun. It was Eugene Daniel who went for it. And did you notice what Aguiar did? He spun away. He was trying to draw the flag. He didn't get it. We'll be back. It's a bit of a family outing here in the Hoosier Dome, and this attracted couple and their children. They'll be hearing from all of their friends that we saw you on television. We saw you on television.
All right.
Yes.
Good for them.
Colts at their own 20-yard line. Colts are still 0 for zap. Third quarter scoring in the year 1991. They've yet to score in this period in any ball game. Johnson carries. He'll pick up 5, maybe 6. It'll be 2nd down. Let's go back to the punt.
Charlie, there is De Niro, there is Hoffman, there was Olivier, and now there is Aguiar, one of the all-time great actors. He certainly learned his trade from one of the best in Dave Jennings, who is certainly one of the great actors of all time, doing his Tasmanian Devil thing, trying to draw the flag. Such drama. Unbelievable. Too bad 30-something isn't still on the air. I'm sure
he just tried to draw
perfect for that. Oh, give me a break.
Dave Jennings, of course, is here broadcasting Jets radio along with Marty Glickman got a chance to visit with Marty before the telecast. Pass is complete for the first down. Flag is down. Jesse Hester pulled it in.
Dave Jennings was certainly one of the all-time best at that when he was punting. He drew a lot of unnecessary flags.
It's going to be an offensive pass interference call.
Caught Jesse Hester pushing off there to get open. You can see he was complaining about that.
Offensive pass interference number 84. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
What do you think about the idea of having a 5-yard penalty against the team that does that sort of acting? You know what I mean?
To try and draw it? No,
Sure.
I think it's good. I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. Ooh, went to the face there. They could have got Brim for that.
No.
No, that's not good, especially when you're tangled up like that. That's not a good
And
call.
you were in contact the whole time.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And Brim went to his face, and that's what the official missed. That's not a good call. You can see Jesse right there still shaking his head. I don't get it.
So it'll be second down and 14. George, play action fake, throws it. Out of the backfield is Clark, and Clark is dropped at the 22-yard line. Gain of 7. It'll be third down, but first, New York City, Bob Costas.
All right, Charlie, Monday night, Neil O'Donnell led the Steelers back against the Giants, trying to do the same thing today. Dwight Stone looked like Dwight Stone's getting up there to pull in the pass. Then he sprints the rest of the way, 57 yards for the touchdown. But Seattle still leads late in the third at Three Rivers, 20-7.
Do you know what? I wish I had a nickel for every time Dwight Stone is going to catch one and somebody's going to say that. He looks like Dwight Stone's.
Well,
I mean, really.
At least you're a nickel ahead.
No.
We just heard Bob.
Deerdorf did the same thing Monday night. I got a dime.
You're a dime up. You're a dime up, and that's good for a defensive call.
Yeah.
Okay, third down. George throws. It is incomplete. Hester, the intended receiver. It'll be fourth down.
Jeff George has been hit so much today. You know how you complain to the receivers can short arm a ball. Jeff George short arm through that. He anticipated getting hit from the backside, and he just kind of yips it. You know, he just kind of flicked it out there because he thought he was going to get hit and he didn't want to expose himself.
This is the 7th time in the ballgame that the Colts have been on offense. This will be the 4th time of the 7 that they have punted. The other 3, 2 field goals that they hit and 1 that they missed. And their average of their starting drives has been their own 17-yard line. So they have not been blessed with any type of field position. Here comes pressure. And Stark gets it away. Mathis takes it over his shoulder, points out for a block. Almost gets taken down. And he brings some excitement to the return. We've got a timeout. We'll be back in a moment.
Excitement by the big taste of Miller Genuine Draft Light. Big draft taste comes to life by the employee owners of Avis. We try harder. And by Canon, America's #1 choice for copiers of uncompromising quality.
As we come back now, capture this picture. How would you feel? Well, you saw yourself. Good, lady. No, how would you feel if you had season tickets?
Well, I tell you
This
what.
man is sitting next to you.
Now, is he a ventriloquist? I wonder. Just the other night on Arsenio, I saw Willie Tyler and his guy Lester. I wonder if that little creature can actually speak.
If he is, we'll make him an announcer.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ooh. First down, 26-yard line. Jets, they lead 17-6. Here's Blair Thomas. That return that we had just a moment ago, a couple of interesting things happened.
Terrence Mathis last year set an NFL record. He tied it with a 98-yard return. It brushes his shoulder and he heads upfield. Now he's going to point out, does he fool Anthony Johnson? Yeah, I guess not. No. So funny how players do that, as if they're supposed to look over their shoulder and feel a block coming. Anthony Johnson didn't buy it for a minute and they stuffed it. Interesting note on Terrence Mathis, what a lot of people don't realize is that at New Mexico, he holds the all-time NCAA record for both catches and yardage with 263 catches. An impressive college career.
2nd and 6 for the Jets. New York leads 17-6. 8.5 minutes to go. We're in the 4th quarter. Blair Thomas gets the call. AG with the tackle. Let's check in with the 10-minute ticker. Miami still with an upset working over Houston by 3 in the 4th. New Orleans big over Tampa Bay. They have scored again. Seattle continues to lead Pittsburgh. And look at New England. They have now stretched the margin back. They were leading by 1. They now lead by 7.
You had a chance earlier in the season. I was in Tokyo at the time to watch New Orleans. Now that they're heading to what appears to be 7-0. Do you think they're for real?
I didn't believe it at the beginning of the season, but as each week goes by, I am beginning to believe that. The reason for the difference in that New England game, the extra point attempt was blocked. The reason that we have that 7-point difference. And here is Ken O'Brien.
I'm sorry to laugh, but the reason is that my feeling is that they just dusted that one off, because Ken O'Brien is not the quarterback to use the quarterback draw. If Steve Young, yes. Randall Cunningham, yes. Kenny O'Brien, I don't think so.
How do you think Kenny? Look at him. How do you think he feels when that play is signaled in from the sideline?
Exactly, and he paid the price right there. You can see he's in a little bit of pain. Got a very generous mark. I think he's going to get it this time around.
Has the first down. And we have a timeout on the field. Meanwhile, Taylor loosens up. We'll be back in a moment. We saw a quick flash of a freeze. That is the quarterback draw that O'Brien was hurt on that we're going to show you. We'll go right back to it. Taylor now the quarterback, and we expect him in this situation just to hand off this time to Blair Thomas and let that clock run down for the next 7 seconds, 7 minutes plus. And here's the quarterback draw.
Right there, he just took off with it. Normally there's a little drop step. Now take a look at his right shoulder when Dwayne Bickett drops him to the ground. The right shoulder is the first thing to hit, and I can tell you that one of the things, you're used to hitting on your elbows or your knees or your back, but man, when your shoulder gets slammed down like that, and you can see he's a little uncertain.
And also the ball was, right in the upper chest, right there by the neck. And when you hit that also can kind of jar you. Bruce Costa is going to be asked this question, so we might as well ask it right now. Why that call? Why, this is your quarterback. You're playing well. You're leading here. Why put him in that situation where he can get hurt?
Well, evidently he felt that this was a very important first down to get. And of course, the Colts are not going to be expecting a quarterback like Kenny O'Brien to be running a quarterback draw. You can only, when you get into the football games, when you get in there, you can only be concerned so much about the health of people, because once you're concerned about health, then you're overly concerned that you're not going to get your execution done. If you're worried about people getting hurt, you just can't play that way.
Well, O'Brien's back in.
I think his high five is in there too. Surprised you didn't point that out.
Well, I wanted to let you point it out.
No, you did not. You didn't see it.
5 wide receivers. This is the high 5 formation. Mathis is in the backfield, but 5 go out. And it's to Mathis as he cuts back over, picks up the first down at the 45-yard line of the Colts. I like that formation.
Well, when you have somebody like Terrence Mathis who can do both, come out of the backfield, make a nice move. He does come out of the backfield. He'll cut across your screen right there to the right in the middle of the field. Finds his way between Keith Taylor and Jeff Herod for the first down.
Mathis 103 yards receiving. That's on the season. 9 receptions, 11.5-yard average.
I've always wondered in situations like this, maybe stay with the second-string quarterback. It's 17-6 unless something just unbelievable happens. More than likely the Jets are going to maintain it. And to put him in a situation that's not necessarily garbage time, why not leave Taylor in there if all they're going to do is hand off anyway?
And here is Johnny Hector down the sidelines and out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
Earlier in the week in the Indianapolis Star on Thursday, they had this little article. If you owned the Colts, what changes would you make? And it gave the opportunity to the subscribers of the Star to point out what they feel like they should do in improving this 0-7 club. You can see the address there in the bottom right. And I don't know how many people have sent in similar articles, but I do remember that when I was playing in Los Angeles back in 1985, they had a similar article which was very, very unkind, where both Dieter Bronk and Mark Wilson had a little box that said, check 1, who is the worst quarterback in Los Angeles. That was really cold.
And as I recall, it was a tie, which was even colder. Pass is incomplete. No, it wasn't.
Man. Woo.
Well, our telecast is not going back to Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, boy. Right. Dice Clay's got nothing on you, bud.
No. Except that I quit smoking.
Something you don't see very often. Altoon out here dropping a pass. Simple comeback route. Easy money. but he isn't able to hang on.
And also, you notice from the motion of Ken O'Brien, it seems as if, when he was shaken up or injured or hurt a minute ago, that he seems to be all right. Doesn't affect his throwing motion at all.
That's good. Fortunate for him.
And for the Jets, 3rd down and 4. 4 minutes and 49 seconds left to go in the ball game. Jets on top, 17-6. Scrambles, pump fake, has the first down, slides. It's hard to slide. Interesting. It's hard to slide on artificial turf because, like we talked in the first half, it'll grab you almost like a Velcro, not like sliding on grass.
But you know what's impressive about that is Kenny O'Brien kept his wits about him. You know, normally you'll see the quarterback run out of bounds. But if you saw what he did there is he stopped just before he went out of bounds, went into a slide to keep the clock running. That's heads up by the quarterback. Nice protection here by the Jet offensive front. That's at least 5 seconds he's back there. Now, as he heads downfield, takes a look. Look at him right there. He stops. He knows he's not going to get hit, so he stops right there just before he goes to the white stripe, and that enables the clock to continue to run.
First down, 17-10. The score is 17-6, New York. And the Jets with a first down at the Colt 29-yard line as Johnny Hector gets the call and has 4 to the 25. It'll be 2nd down and 6, 3:45 and counting, time remaining in the game. Chip Banks with a tackle.
Johnny Hector having to have a little bit of double duty because Freeman McNeil is on injured reserve with a knee. One of the things the Jets like to do is they like to get all their skill position people involved. As you mentioned, the high five has enabled them to do that with the wide receivers. Normally they interchange with Hector and McNeil go in to replace Baxter and Thomas, but because of McNeil's injury, we've seen Hector a lot more than normal, particularly in nickel situations.
And next week it will be an open day for both the Jets and the Colts. A little added time for recovery. And here is Hector. And he is hit at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down.
Irv Eatman, the offensive lineman, said we're almost ready for prime time because we almost beat 3 prime time teams. He says, but I'm sick of hearing that because I know we can do it. But getting over this little hump isn't easy. And, you know, because of the parity in the NFL, nothing could be more profound. There's no such a thing in the NFL as a moral victory. And I know that a lot of the people in New York said, gosh, we're so close, we're this, we're that. Well, it does bode well for the future, but in the final analysis, it's still an L in the column. And this man understands that. Bruce Coslet is very cognizant of that. He's not caught up in moral victories. And in fact, when we talked to him about last week against the Houston Oilers, he was very honest. He didn't say, oh, well, you know, this didn't happen or this didn't happen. He said, we got outplayed by a better team.
Here is the inside handoff to Johnny Hector, and he goes to the 16-yard line and picks up the first down. Dwayne Bickett makes the tackle. And when we talked with Bickett yesterday, he said, we've had the team meetings, we've had the players only meetings, and it's time for all the talk to for the end of the talk, it's time to get back to playing football. 2-minute warning. We'll be back in just a moment. And camcorder replay of the game.
Certainly the most exciting play. Johnny Hector with the funny looking flea flicker fools the free safety, and Rob Moore is able to take it in 47 yards for a touchdown. That is our Canon camcorder replay of the game.
Jets now at the Colts 16-yard line, first down. Baxter goes to the 9. Gain of 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3. Banks with the tackle. And now the employee owners of Avis salute the game's most valuable player. It is Bob Moore, winner of the We Try Harder. Rob Moore, I'm sorry. We Try Harder Award. Avis, the official rental car of the NFL. That's a lot of copy. Way to go, Rob. 4 receptions, 106 yards, and a touchdown. And the touchdown came on the flea flicker that we saw.
Best pass-catching water boy I've seen in a very long time.
That's right. We've got a timeout. Back in a moment.
The fact that center guard, tackle, and tight end, but he's also their long snapper on kicks. This is a very valuable player for the Jets, even though he is not a regular.
And you were campaigning for him to be the We Try Harder Avis MVP. Yeah.
You know, the Jets have a pretty good schedule coming up here. They have the break after this game. Now, look at the next 4 games that they play. You've got Green Bay, Indianapolis, New England, and San Diego. Amongst those 4 teams, there's a combination of only 4 wins. So it is conceivable that the Jets, prior to their December 1st date with the Buffalo Bills, could be 8-4 heading into that game. And Bruce Coslett was talking with me yesterday, warning against that very thing, because he said that the press there in New York are jumping on that bandwagon, saying that it's not just conceivable, but downright, probable that they should be 8-4 prior to December.
I tell you, the Jets are one of the coming teams in the National Football League. Play selection so far, the Jets have run 51 offensive plays, the Colts 36. Total offense, the Jets 309 yards, 169 for the Colts. Today's telecast presented by Authority, the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Indianapolis Colts and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, New York Jets, and Indianapolis Colts, all rights reserved. And here is Baxter to the 8-yard line, where it's going to be 3rd down. Quintus McDonald and Chip Banks make the tackle. As I watch the Colts, you notice the horseshoe configuration that they have on their helmet. Do you wonder why it is that way rather than turned the other way?
That's sure. It's because the good luck comes in, as opposed to if it's turned upside down, the good luck pours out. Well, that's my understanding of that particular superstition.
No, you're right. And unfortunately, I don't think it's holding very much good luck this year, so far this year for the Colts.
Well, if they don't score a touchdown, which obviously looks like they are not going to, the Colts, I mean, that will be 16 straight quarters.
Yes, without a touchdown.
And I think that'll set a club record.
Blair Thomas, Quintus McDonald with the tackle. And we'll get one more play in. Coming up next is the Old Spice NFL post-game report with Bob Costas, O.J. Simpson, Bill Parcells. Bring you up to date with all of the action, what's going on today around the league as the chains come out here for the measurement. We've got a timeout with the measurement. We'll be back.
Flies and have an only average career span of 3.1 years in the National Football League. That is impressive.
So the gun sounds. That is the end of the ball game. Bob Bernardi, Jeff Yarbovoit, Paul Perminski, you guys need to get better names, and we're going to get our spotters and statistician in earlier. Either that, or we've got to have more information and earlier. But a good crew here. Thank you all. It's great to be back. Final once again, Jets 17, Colts 6. Back in a moment.
Okay, so the Jets prevail. They had lost 4 straight against the Colts. They beat them today at the Hoosier Dome 17-6. The Colts fall to 0-8. We come back, check all the scores, show you some of the highlights, talk with Bill Parcells and O.J. Simpson right after 13 weeks of the season very easily.
Well, of course, we have great intentions of being in the playoffs this year. I think the key for us is just to find a way to win the big games and the games that we're supposed to win. Come out week in and week out ready to play and everyone executing. And I think if we do that, we'll be in the playoffs.
Rob, thanks a lot, and congratulations on a good game today against the Colts.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, now let's update these other scores for you. Houston and Miami. Houston, at last check, trying to run out the clock. They've reached the 2-minute warning. You saw Sammy Smith fumble at the goal line. The Dolphins had an almost certain touchdown that would have given them the lead. Now Houston is trying to run out the clock with 2 minutes left, leading at Joe Robbie 17-13. Tampa Bay played at New Orleans. This is now a final. The Saints go to 7-0 with a 23-7 victory. Seattle and Pittsburgh late in the 4th quarter. Now a final. Seattle gets the win. They go to 4-4. They drop Pittsburgh to 3-4, 27-7. The final score there. New England and Minnesota. Well, there's the score of the game you just saw. The Jets 17 and the Colts 6. And Minnesota playing at New England late in the 4th quarter. Not enough time for the Vikings to catch up. Patriots 23 and the Vikings 13.